Hey everybody, coming at you again with another 5 minute after the movie car review. I just saw the movie here with Tom Hanks and Robin Wright, directed by Robert Zemeckis, written by Eric Roth, and Forrest Gump reunion material from my high school years in '94. I've seen a lot of bad reviews on this movie, and I don't get it. I thought this movie was fantastic. I thought the premise was great. I thought what Robert Zemeckis did with the single viewpoint camera angle and the boxes that flipped through time and changed time, and Bob Zemeckis does it again. But I guess for me, a lot of it is just growing older, 3 years away from 50. My brother just turned 50. My parents are getting older. Kids growing older. My daughter is a sophomore in high school. My two sons, 19, 23, starting to live their own lives and do their own things, and families come together, families fall apart, a lot of it is what you bring into this thing. And I've often thought about the premise too of, if you could time travel, what would it be like to stand in the same spot and watch time move through that spot? And probably a lot of that is growing up watching the original Time Machine movie with Rod Steiger, where the time machine sits in one place and doesn't go wherever you want it to go, but sits where it is, and then the mountains rising up, the mountains falling, and then ending up in the future with the Morlocks and the Eloi. But I digress. I often thought about what it would be like to time travel standing on the exact spot that the house I grew up in Wyoming sits on. And this movie, wow. It does that. And I think about this a lot too as a history teacher. I'm constantly going through time. I've talked to this with other history teachers before. We're time travelers. Wherever we go, whatever we do, whatever place we visit, whatever country I visited or trip I've taken, road trips, Route 66, Russia, wherever, you stand in a place and you can't help as a history teacher but take yourself back in time. What was happening here? What are these people doing? What were the people thinking? I remember taking students to Athens a few years ago, and as we stood above the glass top or plastic top that sits at the Athens Museum above the uncovered, excavated old Athens, thinking, gosh, these were ordinary lives. There was a person who got up every day and swept this porch. There was people who got the flu or babies crying. You're taken there. You're taken through time to what people must have been feeling and what people must have been doing every day in an ordinary way. And I think this movie does an incredible job of taking you through, and the actors, Paul Bettany, it's the litany of people that play these parts. There are probably some really underdeveloped parts, some stories that we focused on that could have been probably focused on a little bit more. And then there's some historical stuff where the house, I read a review and I kind of agree, where they said the extraordinary part about the house is how ordinary it is. And there's some parts that did take me out, like, oh, so this happened in this house, and so, oh yeah, by the way, this happened and this famous thing happened. It probably would have been better if none of the famous stuff had happened, if it was just an ordinary house. But still, the journey it takes you on, the emotional roller coaster it takes you on, especially if you're a parent as you age and your kids are growing up, and especially if you're young, I guess, and you look at your own parents, and everybody has their own story, and how did we get there, and what happened in that house. My parents have lived in my house in Wyoming since 1975, and just thinking about that, how many memories we had in that house. So, getting a little weepy again. Sorry. It's just seen me after the movie. This is me getting it together afterwards. So, phenomenal job to the cast. Phenomenal idea, cinematography. I know the reviews out there seem really negative about it, but I would say go give it a chance. Go give it a chance and see what you bring into it and what it puts into you. There was a play my son did when he was in junior high called The Dining Room. That was very much like this, where a dining room table is like the single focus of lives, and just thinking about how an object becomes something more based on the energy inside of it. So That's my 5-minute review on Here. Go see it.